Hello and welcome to the latest episode of I'm Not a Player, I'm a Gamer podcast. I don't know about anyone else, but I've been spending the whole past sort of couple of weeks locked into the Call of Duty scene out in Miami. And this episode, we've been blessed with a Call of Duty analyst, amongst many other things. So I'm not going to try and hype you up too much. But I'm joined by Allyckt. How are you, Ali?
Hello, I'll say please don't. I get so my body seizes up when people start talking about me and they're like, "You're doing such a good job," and I'm like, thanks, but hi, I'm doing great. I just came back from Miami actually,
Yeah.
really tired.
Did they look after you out there?
Pardon?
Did they look out? Did they look after you in Miami?
Yeah, of course.
I went. Oh, it's probably been about 10 years since I was at Miami. And all I remember was it was so humid for me. Listen, being from the UK, we don't handle heat well, but
No, yeah. We, me and my hairstylist, every time we tried to curl my hair, the humidity was like, "Oh no, you're gonna fall." So I would curl my hair before I went to the venue at 9 a.m. and then I'd get to the venue and my hairstylist would look at me and be like, "So what do you want to do with your hair today?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? I curled it before I left." And she's like, "It's gone. Like your hair is pinned straight right now." And I was like,
oh, there's
no.
the confidence boost that you need right away, isn't it? It's like it's all been done. It's like, oh, you sure? I was like, oh, thanks for that. So I won't hype you up too much. I'll probably mention some of the things you've done in the past, but for people that don't know who you are, I guess I'll allow you instead to introduce who you are and what it is you do exactly in esports and what you have done so far, which has been incredible.
Yeah, sure. My name's Allie or Allycxt. I work in the Call of Duty scene. I am an analyst for professional Call of Duty. Basically, what that is, if you watch NFL, there's guys on a desk. They talk about the teams and how bad they are. I do that, but for professional Call of Duty teams. Before that, I was a caster for the Challenger scene, the amateur scene, before we franchised into city-based teams. And before that, I was just an 18-year-old girl that really wanted to play competitive Call of Duty, and I worked at a retail store called Old Navy for 2 years. Yeah, that's all my lore. It's not too interesting.
And you've never once recently called out a certain team for how you may or may think they might perform and put your hair on as a bet. And then
I may or may not have done that. And listen, it's not fair because it was one of our best teams, if not our best. The team that won the major. It was a team that won the major versus the worst team in the league. I made a comment during one of the online broadcasts and was like, respectfully, if they win the series, I'll dye my hair purple. It's not that purple anymore because the Chlorine in Miami had other plans. But the left side of my hair was purple because they somehow managed to be our Major 2 champions on an online qualifying match in a Game 5 for absolutely no reason other than they wanted to turn my hair purple, probably.
yeah, I was going to say, for spoiler alert, FaZe beat Optic in the final. What was your thoughts of the sort of major itself? Like, were there any sort of standouts for yourself? I mean, I've been Optic my whole life, so I'll always support Optic, and I love Shotzi being the wild card out there. You always have to account for he's going to be somewhere. You don't know where it's going to be, but he's going to find someone who's going to be there. Like, what was your thought of the major as a whole, I guess, and the outcome?
I think that's so funny because I think every time I watch a team play Optic, I'm always like, is somebody calling out Shotzi? No, they're gonna get shot in the back by him. And it's ironic. I'm wearing my Subliners sweatshirt today. Shout out them. They like sending me stuff for free. Their drops are great. But Miami actually was really interesting. Well, one, we weren't really in Miami. We were in Fort Lauderdale, but that's besides the point. But the reason this major was so interesting is because usually 90% of the time in a major, we have a couple of upsets that happen. So our top 4 teams don't ever typically always all make it to Sunday. But this was the first major, I feel like in a very long time, our top 4 seeds heading into it from the online qualifiers got to top 4 and made it to Sunday. And so because of that, all of the matches were so good, throughout the entirety of the weekend. There wasn't really any upsets, but every match was really, really close and really, really interesting to watch, and really fun to watch, where typically that doesn't normally happen.
And I've got to know, working with Chris especially, is he as so I got to experience Chris at the Esports Awards a couple of times, obviously most recently when he was in.
Experience Chris is such a funny sentence.
Listen, I
know exactly what you mean though.
He is an experience. Now, don't get me wrong, he is a great guy. I was when we were at the awards, he was people got a coin. Actually, I've got it back here. So we got finalist coins. Shout out. Chris decided the best thing to do with his finest coin was to try and see if he could send it down one end of Zook nightclub towards a giant marble globe. You'll be shocked to hear that security weren't really happy about this. And I remember just coming down the stairs and Puckett was like, "Hey, you have a go. See how far you can get it." Within seconds, security were all over me. I was like, "Listen, I'm just here with Chris. I'm just playing nice." Is he everything that he appears to be? I mean, he was shouting out players' mothers and stuff. He's a whirlwind.
He is a whirlwind, and he is that way on and off broadcast. I can't tell you what more of a chaotic thing than to put me and Chris in the same room together multiple times in the week. And that is what we do for work, because you have the ADHD in Chris, and you have the autism in me, and then you have Ant, which is just, he's just Ant, and he's the very chill one. But then sometimes you also add the third party of Maven. I don't know what Maven has. I don't know if we've had that conversation. ADHD, there's something there. You put all three of us in a room, stuff gets very chaotic. But yes, Chris is inexperienced in and out of the game. At Miami, actually, there are so many clips of us being on the desk, like just doing insanely out of pocket things. Like me and Chris bounce off each other so bad, especially in pre-shows where like we need to like lock ourselves in. But like it's funny because you can see that work mode hit both of us. Like you'd think he's crazy in work mode on the broadcast. It is a different experience off broad. It is so much more unhinged. It's so much more chaotic. I'm the same way, naturally most people are the same way. Like they're a little bit different on a professional broadcast and, right before you go on. But I can't tell you the amount of times, like I was having a staring contest with production back in, so our production was all in Columbus, Ohio still, where they were doing remote production for the most part. And so I was trying to stare contest our producer back in Columbus through the cameras and pre-show. So I would stare at the camera and have a stare off with them, and Chris would just come and join me and stand behind me, and he'd make like the most insane face you could possibly come up with. And I couldn't look at him because I was too busy in the staring contest. I was like, "Chris, what are you doing?" And I could just feel his presence hovering me, and he's like, "I'm not doing anything. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm stare contesting Danny. What are you doing?" And there's like a video of a videographer going past us and both of us doing that, and he looks insane.
Yeah, and I mean, I was about to ask how much like effort or time do you have to put, bit like pre-production? Like we obviously get to see the moment you're there and ready to go, and you guys are just on it straight away, and there's all this information going on. Like, how much time does it take to like prepare for I appreciate like you spend so much time streaming and everything else. How do you sort of find the time, or where does the time come in to actually prep for a major? And I mean, it's ever changing. Like rosters are changing all the time, and people are performing in different levels. Like you have to have all this information like instantly. How much time and effort does it really go into that?
Which is why I hate the question all the time when I'm streaming. I get, "Who do you think is going to win champs?" And I'm like, dude, it's Major 2. We have 2 more iterations of majors to go through. Like, we don't even know what the rosters are going to be like. We don't even know what the game's going to be like by champs. Like, the better question would be, who do you think's going to win the next major? Because, like, that's more, like, timing-wise makes more sense. But, the way you prep, it depends. So for like online matches, so my schedule is Monday through Wednesday. I stream on my personal channel. I do like nothing COD like desk related Monday through Wednesday. And then Thursdays is technically like my quote unquote day off. I call it a day off just because I don't stream on those days usually, but really it's my day to do my grocery shopping, my cleaning, my laundry, and write my notes for the weekend. And so typically I'll sit down with myself on my laptop, and we have a bunch of back end stats that will have been updated from the last weekend. And I'll write everything out that, has to do with the teams that are playing the next day, that Friday. Sometimes I'll write out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but usually I just do it day by day because sometimes teams will play twice in one weekend. And so you want the most updated stats when it comes to those matches. So I'll write everything out on Thursday for Friday. And then we get into work Friday. And even while I'm at work Friday, I get to run a show in front of me, which the run a show is basically a printout that shows the blocking of what type of graphics are going to be showing and what the live stream is going to be showing. It's not a script, really. It's an outline more so than it is a script. I get a lot of people that are like, "Do you read out the teleprompter?" And there's no teleprompter. Everything we say like is our own words and us coming up with stuff. When Chris talks, it's literally him coming up with stuff
You
and
can
wording it
tell
a
as
certain
well,
way.
by the way, when Chris Chris is like, you can tell that
Yeah.
it's not, that can't be scripted what he's saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much like all that we get is a producer in our ear telling us what's next. And that's what the run of show is as well. It's just a blocking that tells us how much time we have to speak on certain things and what graphics are going to be shown. So I'll look at that, and if I need to take any notes of specific things I want to touch on during the pre-show, I will write those notes before show on Friday for like an hour or two. But when it comes to in-person events, it's a lot more difficult because there's so many more matches that happen in a day, and stats are getting updated consistently because sometimes teams have to be playing multiple times in a singular day, meaning that things are forever changing and it's LAN. So for me, we get in Tuesday. Wednesday is kind of like our free day, but it's also a rehearsal day. But that's typically when we'll get the run of show again. I'll be able to look over everything that we're doing. I'll write my notes. And then we get to the event on Thursday morning, usually at like 9, 10 a.m. And during that time period, like an hour or two, we'll do a rehearsal and I'll take more notes. And then throughout the entirety of the day, I am watching every single match, every single map, and I'm writing notes on every single map about important events that happened that could have been game changing for those specific series, and then follow up, go to the desk, maybe get to talk about like 2 of those things that I wrote down, and then into the next map. So like there's so many notes that myself and Ant have that never get said, that never see the light of day. I have this huge notebook with all this stuff written in it, and I have notes for every single map. Like not only every single match, every single map, and almost every single player. And like 90% of that never sees the light of day. But it's rather being over prepared than under prepared naturally, because sometimes we have to fill, and then I get to talk about all the insane things that I got to write down, for that match for an extra 30 minutes. But a lot of times the prep doesn't even see the light of day.
It's mental to imagine. I think about like the padding that you have to do if something goes wrong in an event. Like if a game stops suddenly partway through, and it's like cut to the guys on the desk, and they're like, right, okay, break out all the information you've got. I bet you've not even found like a quarter of Shotzi's head glitches and stuff on maps yet. He's finding them every single week. It's impossible.
Yeah, there's a new one. There's a new one every week, and then you're like, oh, gotta write that down. That's now the Shotzi spot.
I know. Did you have like a sort of standout moment from the latest major? Was there anything that you particularly love? And also, like, what's it like when you're out there with the fans and stuff? I imagine it's like going to events like that, like the hype that you see. Because I haven't had the luxury of. I'm waiting for him to come over to London, or if not, I mean, I'm desperate to try out with Toronto. I've been trying to work a few things, but like, what's the experience like as well, just as a whole? Like going to those events, like it must be. I can't imagine it's like when people are like musicians or artists and they do live performances, like you're experiencing like live entertainment. Like it must be incredible.
It is incredible. What's funny is the standout moment for me isn't really necessarily in any of the gameplay, but like one of my favorite moments from the weekend was I got to hug this kid that has a FaZe jersey on, and it like I don't even know, getting hugged by like a 7-year-old for some reason is just so enlightening. But it was like my favorite moment.
Does it make you want
nice.
kids straight away though?
Yes, absolutely. I got baby fever.
Yeah, baby fever hit instantly.
But live events are always great. It's hard for me because I get really overwhelmed and overstimulated at live events. And don't get me wrong, I love being out in the crowd and feeling the energy and getting excited with everybody. It's just now that because it's taken like a job role for me, because I've attended events before I worked them before. And well, 2. I've attended 2 events before I started working them. And it was cool because like nobody was paying attention to me. I was just a viewer. I was just hanging out, like enjoying the games, getting hyped with everybody else. But once you start working them and people start kind of like knowing who you are, it's a little bit different just because you always feel like people are looking at you. And I don't do well with that, which is ironic considering my job is being on camera. I always joke it's like being an actor that loves to act but hates like the being famous part of it. Yep. I love my job, but I hate the attention that comes from it. And so like I can't like walk out into the arena and sit in the crowd or anything and enjoy it that way because I would just feel stared at. It's not so much that I don't like people coming up and talking to me or anything. I'm really introverted and I'm really socially anxious. Yeah. And I'm really awkward when it comes to strangers, and I can feel it even when people ask to take pictures with me. I'm always like, yes, of course. And then like sometimes we'll hover for a second like to have a conversation and I black out because I'm like, I don't know what else to say because I'm really bad at this. Like, I'm just really bad at this. It's not that I don't want to talk to you. I just don't know how because I'm really introverted and people don't really know that about me because they assume I'm extroverted. Like Chris is super extroverted. But I mean, it's always super fun. It's just the attention and like the loud noises that psych me out. And then I wear my headphones around, and then I get so the most recent event, I had to have escorts to and from the desk every single day because I got a lot of death threats heading into that event, and so security wanted to take like an extra level and always make sure somebody was with me, and so like that made it extra stressful for me because like not only now do I have the attention on me, but now I just look like a diva. Like I look crazy because now I have security strapped to my side like everywhere I go as if I'm fucking I don't know, like I'm Ariana Grande or something walking a fucking gaming event. And like that's not I'm not like it's not what I'm trying. It wasn't really by choice. It's not what I think or anything. It was just like for my safety. But people don't know that. They don't do their self research. Like they're like, Allie, why the hell are you walking around wearing noise canceling headphones? Well, because I'm autistic and I get really overwhelmed and really overstimulated by the lights and the sounds and the amount of people. And I'm working and it's a 12-hour workday. So like everything at once is just so much.
Yeah, I had this conversation with Hercules as well when it came to like live events, and we talk about like obviously with Call of Duty they have the live chat, and we've spoke before about how like even on your Twitch streams or on anything else, like I feel like I spend half the time telling guys and girls who are given hate basically where to go, and it must be something that really takes the shine away from like what are these incredible events where it must be, and on one end you've got to ignore them and you can't let them get you. But it must be an impossible task to actually be able to not eventually just cave in and just be calling these people out. Which sometimes
Yeah.
when you call them out, it's great because it needs to be seen. Like you're on a platform where you need to be seen that like there's not a place for this in our community. Which as it's getting more and more popular on social media, I feel like more and more people are now keyboard warriors are coming out and feel like they can say what they want behind the keyboard and get away with it. And we need to be trying to take a stand with it and trying to cut it out. But it must really take a little bit of a shine off like the events.
Yeah, it's just I've never had anybody like actually come up to me in person and say anything,
No,
but I
of course
have
not.
had situations where people will take a picture with me and then like it'll be very nice to my face and then they will turn around and they will post some of like the most insane captions you could possibly think of, like on both sides of the spectrum. Like it could be the one side of the spectrum where they'll take a picture with me, they'll be very nice, and I'll turn around and see that picture on social media with an insane caption of like, oh my God, she smelled so nice. And I was within 3 feet, like something creepy. And then you go to the other side of the spectrum. I've had people, as you've probably seen, who took a picture from somebody else and was like, met my favorite retard today. Like, there's both sides of the spectrums and they're very extreme. And like that scares me. That gives me anxiety because these all of my interactions so far have been good when it comes to fans and people at events wanting to take pictures or getting a signature or something. But then it turns around and I see those things on social media and I'm like, oh my God, like I was like touching this person. Like we were literally within like a 10-inch radius of each other and they turn around and acted this way.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of hope that those people aren't listening to this. But if you do happen to be listening to this podcast, then you are not welcome in our community, and you need to go find something else to entertain yourself because yeah, we just don't need it here. Finally, with Call of Duty, yeah, Toronto's next. I'm assuming have you been to Toronto before?
Yeah, this will be the third
I was just
event
about to say,
Toronto's
yeah.
hosted, I'm pretty sure.
Do you love it there? Like I've never been able to go that way, but I hear amazing things about Toronto.
Yeah, I love the Toronto event every year. I want to go to Toronto without it being an event because naturally, like at an event, like I'm just working the whole time, so I don't really get to see the city. But the little bit that I have seen, like Toronto is huge. It's very pretty, very good food. And it's super fortunate because the center, it's not really a convention center. It's like a hockey ring that they
Yeah.
use for the, I don't know. But we're like, our hotel's like literally right next to it. So that's really nice for convenience sake because we can just literally walk to and from within like 2 minutes to the venue. And we're still in like downtown, so we can walk to like the mall and a bunch of food spots and convenience and stuff. I always love Toronto. It's always a really good event. Other than Air Canada lost my bags last year or the year before last year, and I like lost full because I had to go to Sephora and rebuy my entire makeup routine, and it was like $1,000. I ended up getting it reimbursed by Air Canada eventually, but like I was just
The
in the moment, like
inconvenience.
I was so annoyed. It was so annoying.
See, I didn't discover Sephora until I was out in Vegas this past time when I was buying makeup for my partner, and now I get daily emails from them telling me about
I
more
get
makeup that I
slammed.
need to buy. So I'm like, I'm going to forward that on because I can't. I don't know what I'm doing here. Now you said that you don't like being hyped up, so I'm going to do this in the way that I can try my best not to. Forbes 30 under 30. Like, how do you not hype someone up about that? Like, that must be the most surreal experience for you. Like, how did that even like? How did you find out?
What's funny is I found out because of the Jacob Hale tweet. Like I didn't even. So I knew I had been nominated for something months beforehand because our former PR person for Call of Duty, Alexa, had sent me an email and was like, "Hey, can you send me a biography? I want to submit you to Forbes." And in my brain, I'm like, "What? What is she on about? Forbes? Okay." So like, I just wrote like a dumb biography, like she asked me to, and I sent it to her, and I thought nothing of it. Like I just threw that thought away in my brain because I was like, that's can't be a real thing that's gonna actually happen. And then months later passed. I heard nothing of it naturally. So object permanence out of my sight, out of mind. Like it didn't exist to me anymore. And I woke up at 9 a.m., which I never wake up at 9 a.m. first and foremost. So my body must have known something was going on. But I woke up at 9 a.m. and I saw on my naughties, Jacob Hale mentioned you. And I was like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like,
You
what does
automatically
Jacob
assume
Hale
the
have
worst,
on
don't you?
me? I was like, what happened for Jacob Hale to be tweeting me? Like, what did I do? Like, I got so stressed out. And I opened it and it was the Forbes tweet. And I was like, what? What are we on about? And then, like, instantaneously, I got an email from Forbes, like, not even 10 minutes later. Jacob Hale knew before Forbes even told me. But then I got an email from Forbes, like, 10 minutes later saying that I had made their Forbes 30 under 30 list under the gaming category. And I was like, what? And like, yeah, okay. I don't even understand what this means. So, I went through the process of like tweeting, like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, I don't even know how this happened or whatever. But I mean, I do know how it happened, but not really know how it happened
Yeah.
because I
You
never
don't
would have thought
expect
of
it. Someone
myself.
mentions it, but you don't
Yeah.
expect it.
I didn't expect that in a million years. I was like, there's no way any near where any of my accolades so far reaches up to level of Forbes. I guess they have somehow. But yeah, and then I got added to all these Forbes chat. Like I'm in a Forbes Slack and a bunch of WhatsApp, whatever, and I get like Forbes emails. There was a Forbes like launch like party for all the people, all the listers for that year in New York. I went to that. That was really cool. Really socially awkward. Didn't really talk to anybody other than people that came up and talked to me. It's very overwhelming, but it was really cool. But yeah, so that that happened. And then I mean, naturally, as social media is, instantly a bunch of hate, like instantaneously. You can pay to be on that, blah, 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 blah. Man, in what world do you think I'm spending my salary on being on Forbes? Like, what accolades does that give me? It does not, up the quality of my life in any shape or form. And even if I could, even if I did, like I don't have the means to, like I bet that is hecka expensive if you could pay to be on Forbes. I don't know, but I have way too many things I would rather spend my money on, like mods on my car or a new cat tree, or I don't know. There's a lot of things I would have spent money on before, like on the list, than spending money to be on a Forbes list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
mean,
like people just don't use their brains.
no, I mean to be clear, like obviously, I immediately you see the hate and you think to yourself, I'm fairly certain this isn't the sort of thing that you can pay your way into. And no, you
It's
have to
not.
be
You Google it, it says no.
You are evaluated by Forbes staff and a panel expert judges. That is not you pay to get in, is it? It's not a pay to win scenario. This is you are striving in your industry and you've been recognized by someone and then you've been voted into it. So yeah, kudos. That's as much as I go. I'll try not that's you just have to shut it out. It's a hell of a achievement. And women's Call of Duty equally, like, love to see this getting off again. Like, how much of a process has this been for you?
It's been a hell of a process. It was what's so funny is at first it was just like a fun idea. I was like, hey, what if I did this? I held an open Zoom call. Like an open, like, hey guys, come listen to me yap about this idea I have. It's open to the public. I want some feedback. I posted it on Twitter and then like I held like a 30-minute Zoom with a bunch of random people and told them my idea. And then one of my closest friends messaged me, was like, yo, I work in the production area of things. Like I can help you out with this. Shout out Jalen and Ishoni and Don. And I was like, heck yeah, screw it. And then a month later, season 1 of WXC is suddenly broadcasting on my Twitch, and wherever, yeah, that happened. And now we're in season 3 that just started. We restarted matches this upcoming week actually, and I couldn't ask for not only a better team production wise and stuff, but like the support and everything has just been unreal, you know. And there's been a lot of discourse recently about it, you know, like the trans conversation, trans women or women, blah, blah, why do women need their own tournament or league? Like, at the end of the day, like, none of that shit even matters to me. Sorry if I can't cuss, but like,
No,
none of
you're good.
that,
You're good.
like, none of that even like matters to me. Like, I think people look too much at the big picture than the smaller picture when it comes to something like this, because at the end of the day, like, the people I care about are the girls that are playing in it. Like, those are real people I put names and faces to, and those are the people that I care about. The people, my production team that I put names and faces to, those are the people that I care about. So all the hypotheticals are like, oh, what about blah, 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 like, I do not care about that. Like, I care about the people that I have, and I want to make this work as much as possible for them to turn it into a job. Like, there's going to be hiccups and there's going to be things that might not be done perfectly the first way. I mean, we're not even a year into it. Like I say, season 3, a season is 4 weeks long. This is our 3rd iteration of doing a 4-week long tournament. Like, not everything's gonna be pristine and perfect, but it's gonna be done to the best of my ability and the best of my team's ability, and we're gonna make the most of it. And I just don't think people understand that. They want to make it this whole political giant ass issue when it's just not. Like, it's the COD and it's the girls COD community, which is small. It's not great. I mean, excuse me, it is great, but like, it's not like big. Like, there's not a bunch of us, and we're growing it as much as we can for the future of girls wanting to play competitive COD. And like, anybody that tries to tear that down is just a freaking weirdo to me, because it doesn't affect you at all.
Everything that's big at the moment, whether it be the Call of Duty League that we're talking about now, or even if you look at Rocket League or anything else, they've all started where they would have been at much smaller tournaments, or they all started with game battles or like all these things have grown from somewhere. And for you to decide what I'm going to do is I'm going to log on and spread hate about something that you probably know nothing about, and you don't actually appreciate how much time and effort has gone into it, but actually how difficult it is for these women who
It's
are
so
wanting to
hard.
take part in this industry. It's such a toxic industry for them to try and enter, that this is an area where they can come in, and they should feel like they can come in, compete, and show that they can compete with anyone, male, female, it doesn't matter. They're just there to compete. They're there to play a game that they love to play. So I highly recommend anyone who if you enjoy not just if you enjoy Call of Duty, but if you just enjoy competition, like you need to check it out, and like most things, give it a chance before you've even given an opinion.
Heck yeah. And respectfully, like, I'm self-funding it. That's one thing people just do not understand, is like, that's a lot of the mainstream hate that like we've gotten, is a lot of either I'm a dictator or I'm doing this for money or whatever. Like, no, I just can't drill it into people's heads enough that like me doing this puts my job on the line, puts my reputation on the line, puts my money on the line, because it's my salary that is paying for this. Like, I'm paying production, I'm paying for graphics, I'm paying for logos, I'm paying the prize pool. Like, yes, there are iterations where we have had help from third parties, Boston Breach, Activision, an upcoming one that I cannot release
Oh, we
yet.
almost got there. We almost got there then.
An upcoming one that I cannot release yet. That is going to be so huge, and I can't wait to announce it. But like, yes, we've had third parties come in and support, but every single time we have gone to start a season, it has been me. It has been me saying, I am putting my funds on the line and I am running this. So like, people just don't understand that aspect of it. So like, respectfully, like, whatever decisions I make, it will always be for the betterment of the WXC, but it's also like, nobody can tell me different. Like, you can call it a dictatorship all you want, sure, maybe it's a dictatorship, but at the end of the day, girls are playing for money for free with team logos, no contracts, like, you know, and they get to play competitive COD on a consistent basis, like, for fun. So if you on a main broadcast, they get to be put on the main CDL stream for
Oh
free,
yeah.
like, just for being good at the game because
Yep.
of my connections and my job. So like, and because other people want to support them in what way that they can, shout out Esports Engine and the people at Activision that allow it to be put on the mainstream. So if that's a dictatorship, then sue me. I must be the worst fucking person on the planet. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
And Wusa. But no, I listen, I get
Woosah.
it. Like you're putting so much into it and you feel like you're getting a lot out of it. But again, like everything else, there's always certain people that are gonna try and hate on it and try and make
Yeah,
it.
of course.
Moving on to another event that I've had the look and joy being able to hang out with and see you flourishing and networking. And even though you say that you don't enjoy the particular social aspects of it, I feel like with the esports awards, you actually get to be around people who are in a similar industry to yourself, where you have that mutual conversation of like when you're coming up to a stranger, you don't know who this stranger is, you don't know much about him, whereas you're meeting people who you have a basic idea of who they are, or you've had like conversation with. How was the awards for yourself, like the experience themselves, like not just the actual like results or like nomination for that, but like it's going out to these events. How have you found them?
I love the esports awards. You do make a good point of like, yeah, I don't really like social events that much, but esports awards is different just because even though I'm pretty new to the esports space, like relatively compared to my peers and like people around me. And so most of the times when I do go to the esports awards, there's a lot of faces I do not know that maybe I should know, but like I didn't know what Ogre 1 and Ogre 2 looked like until this past esports awards. Like I had heard of them before, but putting the faces to their names and their accomplishments and what they've done in esports, like that was really cool. So it's one thing of like I get to be in the same room as people that I like look up to in a sense and have been doing this for so long and understand the industry way more than I do at the current point in time, and like knowing that I can learn from them and listen to them. Like they're not only Chris's speech, but I attended the Lifetime Achievement Award the night before last year, and like I literally started crying during, I think it was like the VP of League of Legends or Riot or somebody
It was one of
got
the early ones.
inducted. He got inducted. I literally started crying during his speech because I felt so seen and I felt so like heard and like related to what he was saying about being in esports industry. And obviously he had been there for the time I've been alive, more than that. And it's just knowing that there's people that go through like relatively similar things as you and being around so many of them, and like anybody that I talk to, even if they're technically a stranger to me in that specific space, they still have a level of understanding of what I'm going to say, and I still have a level of understanding of what they're going to say because we work in the same area and we understand the industry. So esports awards is always a pleasure. Plus, I love an excuse to dress up. I love wearing like ball gowns and flowy dresses and stuff. So I love an excuse to dress up and walk around and like party with everybody. But I always truly enjoy the esports awards, although I am mentally convinced that they are out to get me, but I still love them.
I try and counter argument, but there's only so much I can say or do in this scenario. But I know exactly where you're coming from. But yeah, the red carpet event for the esports awards, like you were saying, like I spoke to Hercules and she was saying that she has said for the past 2 years, Ali has been the best dressed, which is enough of a hype as you need already. But like the glam bot that they had this year, I had
oh, it was so good.
So Allycxt we've had on, and we talk about the whole like. I remember seeing at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning setting up that whole red carpet event outside of Zoot Nights Club, and it was insane watching it go from what was just a completely empty space to being filled out. Like, again, it's a big social event, but do you love these red carpet like?
I thought this past red carpet was definitely like the best. I've only been there twice, but the last
same for
one
me.
was like the most fun.
The year before it was a lot smaller. Like there, you had so much room to like to socialize. Like the carpet was huge. It wasn't a small red carpet.
Yeah. The carpet was really, really cool. And there was like so many different stations where you'd stop and like get interviewed and talk to people and take pictures. And then there's the glam bot at the end. Like it was very, very, very cool. I really enjoyed this past year's setup of the red carpet.
And
it was a true red carpet too. It was a nice, true red carpet.
Oh yeah, it took ages for me to walk down, and when I was walking through with people that I knew were getting early nominations or early awards, you're trying to find people in a crowd, and there's nothing more difficult than just going. Like you said, I've heard a lot of names of people there, and I'm slowly getting better at putting faces to people's names. And you said, right, you need to go and find this person, and you're looking around, and it's like I have the advantage of being tall.
Just a sea of people.
So I'm looking over everyone, going right. Lucky one of the people had, I think it was blue hair, so I was like, right, I can find blue hair here somewhere, just trying to find it. But like standout moments for me, I remember the lifetime with Krim this year. I think he had the best acceptance like speech. So just it's classic Krim with like the car in the background.
That was so cool. I remember looking at my table and being like, he's literally getting a free promo video right now for his
He knew
racing
exactly
stuff.
what he was doing. Like and like you're saying, we have the luxury of whenever we do the events, we're doing a lot of stuff in the background, and we have an idea of who's winning awards and stuff. But it's still so amazing to see people's genuine reaction when they win an award. But not just that, like you said, everyone that you're talking to, they're all in the industry, that they understand the grind that it takes to be there. So I find that the amount of people that I had conversations with, and I'd be like, I said this with when we had Spaceman, and we both spoke about the first time we saw Nade Shot, and it was like, that's Nade Shot. Like
Yeah.
like deer in the headlights, freeze scenario of not knowing how to react. But then the moment you go and talk to him, they were super genuine. And at the same with Hex and Hitch at Optic, like I said, I'm an Optic boy. So like the moment I saw Hex walking down the casino floor, I was there like, that's Hex. What do I do in this scenario? Like, do I say hi? Do I leave him alone? And I introduced myself, and I'm with Santi, who's part of the awards as well. And obviously they start talking Mexican, and I'm just standing there going, I have no idea what's being said right now, but I'm still part of this. And it's such a like everyone there is so genuine. Like I've met so many amazing people just from 2 years of doing it, and I can't wait for next year. I think the announcements are coming out soon as to where and when. So yeah, super hyped for it.
Please do not clash with a Call of Duty event. Please don't clash with a Call of Duty event. I'm on my hands and knees.
We've got to make it so it's free from it. I'll have some words with Mike and the guys and say, listen, we know
I need to be best dressed 3 years in a row. You know what I'm saying?
They need to make it an official award as well at the award show. That's what they need to do. They need an official award.
No, that would be the year I didn't win it. Imagine like somebody pulls up with something crazy and I just can't compete, and I'd be like, all this work for nothing.
It's typical. You'd think there's more hatred going on, wouldn't you? You'd say there's more of a conspiracy if that happened.
No, but I feel like this past time people stepped up. I was actually so nervous because I was like, well, I wasn't nervous. I was happy because I was like, oh wow, like everybody looks so good. It's like suddenly it's like everybody's catching up to me. I gotta do more.
No, I have the luxury of every time it's the red carpet, I get to talk to everyone just as they're coming on. So it's almost like they're always a little bit nervous. Like there are some people who are a little bit nervous, like they know they're going onto the red carpet. There's gonna be cameras, there's gonna be microphones in the face, and you get to talk to them and try and almost bring them down a little bit and just like have a conversation. And the amount of people who are so like up for just talking about, oh, I was inspired to wear this because I saw so and so wear this, or I've got these shoes. These shoes are bright red. I had to get a red Park Chief, or oh, this dress I was inspired by this. I think part of the whenever I have Ella watch the esports awards, like she isn't. I mean, God love her, she isn't really interested in the gaming side of it. But when I loaded up the red carpet event, she absolutely loved it. Like, and she loves any red carpet event, and I can't wait to see what happens this year with it. Like, I think Hercules and the other people that do it are complete. Like, the way that they get everyone involved in it as well is amazing.
Heck yeah.
Moving sort of to your younger days, what was gaming like in the household for yourself? Was it competitive? I reckon with your dad, there must have been.
Not really, actually.
No?
So I didn't do anything competitive or really know anything about competitive COD until I was 18. Which I kind of blame my brother and my dad for not telling me, because apparently they knew all about it. Like my brother was watching Scump YouTube videos and stuff, and I'm like, nobody thought to tell me about this, because I played video games ever since I was younger. My dad was an avid Destiny and Call of Duty gamer, and I grew up with a Nintendo 64 and a Wii and a GameCube and an Xbox 360 and a PSP that I stole from my brother. It was technically his, and then I took it, and then I started playing Tony Hawk.
The soundtrack on Tony Hawk.
And so, like, I'd always grown up around it. And then as I slowly got a little bit older, I want to say like a little bit like middle school and on is when I really hyper focused on playing just COD. And my brother didn't really play with me. He was a 16-year-old boy, 4 years older than me. He's always playing with his bros, like he's always with his homies online playing wagers or multiplayer or whatever. And so I was typically, then my dad, he works nights, so he would sleep during the day. So his gaming period was either on the weekends when he didn't have work late at night, or like right before he went to work. I don't even know how much he got gaming, to be honest, because we didn't really like game together. Like he got me into gaming, but we didn't really play video games together. And so most of the time it was just me, myself, and I solo queuing, whether it was Call of Duty. I play Call of Duty on the Wii. Like I have to say it with my chest.
Playing on the Wii. Wow.
I was in middle school playing Call of Duty on the Wii because my brother had an Xbox, my dad had a PlayStation, I had a Wii, and I was playing Call of Duty on the Wii. I don't want to hear it. But eventually I graduated and I got the hand-me-down of the Xbox 360. I started playing COD on that. But I was usually just solo queuing, other than I made one girlfriend. Her name was Anastasia. And I would go to her house, and she had an Xbox in her garage on the big old box TV. Yeah. And we would be sitting like this close to it and on her couch, and we'd turn all the lights off and we'd play zombies all night. Like we'd have a sleepover and we would just be in her garage playing zombies. So that's why I mostly played my Call of Duty with, and then I would just play multiplayer by myself every once in a while. And then once I got to high school and I had the Xbox in my room, PlayStation. I had a PlayStation in my room, and then I made some friends online, and then I would queue with them playing multiplayer. And again, up until this point, nobody told me about competitive. God, I had no idea. I was a hardcore grinder. We played hardcore, so I was used to a really fast TTK during Black Ops 2, and we would grind zombies. And Black Ops 3 came out, we'd play hardcore. So I had no idea about competitive. I just played with my online friends. I didn't really play with my dad or my brother at like any point during that time period.
I'm waiting for the Call of Duty LAN on Nintendo Wii to come out, and just seeing you just like, right, this is my
ready.
My time has come. Joystick is out, the remote's out, ready to go.
It's so bad. It's so bad to think about. I vividly remember this setup because I had really bad insomnia in middle school, and it didn't help that the room I was in my house, it was like a little 5x5, and then the closet, there's a little hallway in the back right. And there was a door, and that door led up to an attic. And the attic had there's a couch up there, the Nintendo 64 was up there. There was a TV up there where we would play old school games. It was kind of like a mini man cave, but it was in my room. Like you had to go to my room to access it. And I got really freaked out by dark corners. I had a nightlight, like I'd always keep lights on and stuff. And that attic specifically freaked me the heck out because it was right above me. Nobody was up there. I was by myself. So it'd be late at night and I just couldn't sleep. So I would be on my bed. My bed was on the floor. I didn't have a what's it called? A bed
frame?
Headboard thing, frame. Yeah. I did not have a bed frame, so I had my mattress on the floor. I had this really tall dresser, like this huge tall dresser, and a tiny TV at the top of it, and my Wii to the right. And so I'd be sitting in my bed like this, shooting kids on Call of Duty on my Wii, just absolutely world starring them with my controller held sideways. It was ridiculous.
I think I played Medal of Honor on the Wii when it first came out. I had Mario Super Soccer or something like that, I remember. And oh, I was bad at it. Listen, I barely compete on normal controller, but when it came to Wii controller, that was not it for me. Nowadays, obviously, I know with your stream with League, like what other games do you like? The question I always wonder is, are there any games that you want to play that you feel you wouldn't be able to do on stream or wouldn't go down well on stream? And then also, like, outside of like League, what are you particularly enjoying at the moment you're streaming?
Yeah, always. I used to actually freak out about streaming anything but Call of Duty on my main channel because I think starting out as a variant streamer is typically like almost impossible without a starting fan base. If you're like a from the ground up, like ground zero, trying to make it in the content game or as a streamer, like variant is not the way to go to start. Like you need to pick a game, you need to grind that game out to build up an audience first and then try to take some of that audience to other games. Otherwise, because people come to follow you for, say, Call of Duty, and then they pop in and you're playing League of Legends and they know nothing about that game. What are they going to do? They're going to hitchhike their way out of there. So I mostly only stream Call of Duty for a while. Now I hop between games because streaming isn't like my main source of income anymore. So I don't have to lean on it that heavy. So I can take bigger risks with my viewership and stuff and playing other games. But there's still a dip there. But when I stream, I play COD, I play Valorant, I play League. I played Destiny with my parents for a while as like a bit on stream during the off season. So when we're not in COD season, I don't care. Like I will play just about any game. The only games I play that I truly don't think I would ever stream are like Final Fantasy 14. Like I love MMORPGs. I think they take up so much time in my life though, so
Yeah.
it's kind of bad when I get addicted to those. I've streamed it a couple times in the past, but like it's just not that fun to watch, especially if you're not hardcore into it. Because I don't know a whole lot about Final Fantasy 14, but I just like to play it super casually, and that's hard to casually play that game and have an audience.
Yeah.
I like to play Minecraft every once in a while, but like there's no purpose to really stream it that often. There's a lot of games that I wish I could play that I just don't have the time to, because I just get so addicted to games and I can't spend all of my time on one game that isn't Call of Duty. Like I need to make sure that like 50%, if not 60% of my game time is on Call of Duty during the season, because I have to keep up with the meta and the way the game feels and, you know, what maps are in, how they play out, blah, 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 power positions, because I need to be able to talk about that stuff on the desk. So I find the best learning way for me is to play it myself and to play competitively myself. So most of my time is taken up by COD, and then what other time I have that I can split between other games then goes to my other addictions that don't actually need that much of like an investment into them, like League, like Valorant, because Valorant, I don't want to say one dimensional, but like I can stay in lower ranks and still enjoy the game and do
Yeah.
well. League of Legends, I play a niche on it, so I only really know how to play one character that I've dedicated like 4 years to and keep up with like the basics of the game, because they don't change the game fundamentally that much. So it's easy to play Valorant League, but like again, wanting to commit time to a game like Final Fantasy or whatever, like any MMORPGs or like Apex, I could never commit any time to Apex because that is such a huge learning curve and there's so much information, so much time I'd have to dedicate to even be basic and even like basic level entertaining at that game and basic level like decent at that game. So like I just can't. There's a pool of games that I just can't ever touch because I know I'll either get too addicted and can't invest the time into it or whatnot, whatever.
Yeah, like League. I think it was, I constantly would watch you play League, and I'm there like, right, I'm going to try and play League. And I will play it, and I will play it to my heart's content, and I am still to this day not getting any better at it. Like I've put my all into it, and it is a
It's
game
so
that,
much. It is so much. There are still things I don't know about League. Like there's so many items I still don't understand a lick of what they do. There's champions I still don't really understand a lick of what they do. Like it is so much to learn about League.
yeah, I'm just buying stuff and hoping that it helps my character like in game, and then I suddenly start getting a load of toxicity and hate from my team, and then like, listen, I'm trying, I'm really trying.
I'm doing my best, please.
It is. It's a game that I'll try. Like I found games like Call of Duty, I can jump in and out and it's generally okay. But I mean, it's different for you where you have to be like, it's. Can you play the game and fully enjoy it? Is there always like an element of when you're playing it going, oh, I might need to mention this, or I might need to talk about this, or is it almost too much work rather than play when you're doing it?
I can never play a video game anymore without feeling a sense of like needing to work.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. Like no matter whether it's I'm loading into a COD game or whether I'm loading into Minecraft, there's always a sense of feeling, especially because I'm also a content creator. I was a content creator before I was an analyst, and that kind of created habits in me to where when I play a video game, which I'm trying to break that habit a little bit, my boyfriend, like playing with my boyfriend off stream really helps sometimes, like playing with friends off stream helps. But there was a time in my life where like every time I was playing a video game, I felt guilty if I wasn't streaming or making content out of it. Even with COD, like even if I was just playing COD off stream, even if it was just for me to learn the game, I felt a sense of guilt because I was not making content out of it as well. Because I feel so blessed to be in the position that I am and to have the free time that I have, that if I don't fill that free time with making sure I am utilizing it to the best of my ability as like a avenue of furthering my career and whatnot or my future, I feel like a very large sense of guilt.
so what other forms of streaming are we gonna get? I keep on mentioning the cooking streams. We
I
need
know
more.
I
We need
haven't I
more cooking
haven't cooking
streams.
streams in so long. I need to. It's funny because I have a setup in my kitchen specifically for this purpose of making sure I can do cooking streams and stuff. I just, if I'm being straight with you, I just haven't been cooking as often as I used to in the past like couple of months, just because I feel like I haven't had the time. I've taken up Taekwondo and pole dancing, and then I have my streaming hours. I just feel like with the responsibilities of being an adult and all of that, I just haven't been taking care of that hobby as much as I would have liked to. So hopefully I get better about it moving forward. I'm trying to, but I have not been I've not been cooking as much as I used to. And I think that's why I haven't been streaming it as much either. Because now I'm starting to separate my cooking streams as not technically working. So
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I going to fit a cooking stream and then my normal stream after it? Because in my head, I'm like, I didn't technically stream today because even though I did a cooking stream, that doesn't really count as my gaming stream. And it's just, it's toxic. I got to work. Myself, and I need to have a conversation.
We need a Japanese speaking Taekwondo acting cooking stream and just bring them all together. Like
just
you do
everything in one.
Listen, trying to learn Japanese on its own on top of
Korean.
everything. Sorry, my bad. Korean on top of everything else is just.
I'm trying to do too much, but I can't stop. So I don't know.
It keeps you going. Then, if you ever do get a form of downtime, are there any like other streamers or content creators that you like to watch? Like who are your go-to? And it might be that you don't have any because you are too busy, but
I am like I will say somebody I used to watch a decent amount. I did in the off season because I was playing a lot of League of Legends. But it's somebody I'm actually friends with. His name is Charismai. He's like the #1 Kane player NA, which is a jungler in League. And I used to have his stream open a lot in the background while I would do stuff at my computer, like super late at night because that's when he would start streaming because he's on the Pacific coast, on the California coast. I don't know if that counts because he's a friend of mine. So like,
they make content. It always makes me curious to think, do people like for me, when I get in, I will do work on the computer, but on my second monitor, there will be a stream on of some sort.
Yeah.
And there will always be someone on. I'm always curious for like people that actually stream themselves if they have someone on or they do similar.
Yeah, no, I definitely see like I see the vibe of like I like working and having a stream up too. Obviously, like I watch my boyfriend hell of a lot now. Like whenever I'm like not streaming for some reason and he is, and I'm doing work, like I'll definitely have his stream open just because it's like body doubling because it's like somebody else is doing something and you're doing something that makes you more motivated to do or work or do whatever you're doing.
Before I take much more time out of your super busy stream schedule, amongst other things, a question that I've started asking a lot of people is they're making their own award show, right? So it's a bit of a theoretical thing. And you've been tasked with, first of all, who are you having presenting the red carpet? Celebrity, it can be whoever you want. It can be a friend, it can be a celebrity. Who is the dream scenario?
Presenting the red carpet or like interviewing the red carpet?
Both. So you can have present and interview, and it can be a duo.
Oh man. Okay. I'm not good with celebrity names, but I'm trying to. Oh my gosh. Because I've seen some really good interviews on like traditional red carpets, like traditional celebrity red carpets, and they always do a killer job. Like the funny ones.
Yep.
I think. Wait, why do I think? I think Tom Holland would be a hilarious interviewer.
Yep.
I think Tom Holland might be the interviewer, and then my presenter. Who should my presenter be? My dream presenter. I wish I had like a list of celebrities in front of me.
I just, listen, this is why it's interesting to see if it's because then the follow-up is who's presenting the awards. You're allowed a duo to present, but again, that can be friends, it can be celebs. We've had The Rock mentioned.
That's a good one.
Can you imagine Rock talking about guys? Like, he'd make it work. I said John Cena, but like modern Oscars version of him, where he's just naked holding the sign. Like I'm sure. I'm all for John Cena. And what might be easy for you is the music show. Would it be BB Nobody, or would there be who would you have as for your music?
Oh, I love BB Nobody. No, it would be Jack Harlow. Oh, okay. He would just flirt with everybody. It would be hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he would just flirt with. He could present and just do the music after and just roll between the two.
That might be my pick.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's. I realized that I asked the question, and so many people suddenly they're like, "You have the whole entire world in front of you. Who it could be?" It's like this is.
That's insane. That is a messed up question because my memory does not work like that. Is why I have a notebook for work. You say that, and I'm like, I don't know any celebrities. I have no names in my brain. They don't exist to me. Even my friends, family, nope. Don't know their names. It's all gone. I'm
going to give Tom Holland a message. I'm going to drop him a message and see if he's interested in some red carpet.
Let him know. I think he would be a great interviewer.
Oh, it'd be awesome. Well, I mean, firstly, thank you so much for coming on and telling us a bit about like your world of gaming and esports. And for people that want to find all your work, I mean, I will say the women's Call of Duty, I believe that's WX Call of Duty, right?
Yes.
But where can people find all your other work and streams?
This is my favorite sentence I love to say. Just open your Google browser and type Allycxt. That's ALLYCXT, and you'll get everything you need.
Oh, listen. There are some people that's like, this is my username for Instagram, this is my username for Twitter, this is my username for YouTube.
No,
This is
just Google Allycxt and it'll all be there.
Awesome. And I highly recommend it, guys. Yeah, Toronto Major is going to be coming up soon. I definitely recommend watching the highlights of the Miami Major. So the final with Optic and FaZe, and then even the semis before then, like seeing. Listen, I could watch Shotzi all day, but I recommend jumping on that amongst all the other things. But yeah, until next time, again, any feedback that you guys have, send it my way, and just keep gaming, guys.